starting the stream. I've noticed that there's a delay actually every time I press start streaming and stop streaming, but whatever. Okay, so Act 1 scene. Okay, how many of you actually remember what Hamlet is about? I know Trinity, you barely remember anything, which is fine.
You mean Yamaguchi? Who?
I need
You mean
to like,
Yamaguchi?
yeah, Yamaguchi.
Emmy, you must be careful of your lips.
Hey, Yamaguchi. You barely remember anything, which is fine. But like, what about the other two of you?
I don't remember
Basically,
shit. I just know a lot
some
of people die. That's about it.
some dude goes nuts after his dad dies, and then everyone dies. Except for this one dude who comes back from a trip. It's like, what? Why is everyone dead, and why am I
There's a
king now?
Horatio in this story? Sorry.
No, no. That's Romeo and Juliet.
Bernardo.
He's an Italian man. No. Those are all Italian people. This is a story that's not in Italy. This was
There is a Horatio and a Bernardo, though.
yeah.
Yeah, look at the words in front of your face that they should be there in the PDF
Okay,
that you're supposed to be looking at.
I wasn't looking at it right away because I'm making a matcha latte.
Okay, you're making.
This guy cooking right now. What the fuck?
cooking.
I told you I was making breakfast.
Where are they? Where does this story take place? Sorry, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I think it's best for a little bit of context. So, right now, they're out. Okay, you can see in the modern day version, 2 watchmen enter. They're basically guarding. It's the middle of the night right now, or actually, it's not the middle of the night, but it's close to dawn, but it's still dark. So these 2 men, they're guards. So right now, Hamlet. I think I should just preface this. Hamlet is a prince. He's a prince of Denmark. Why the story takes place in Denmark? Because Shakespeare, well, I mean, I can't remember what source I got this from, but it seemed pretty plausible that the reasoning makes sense. I think it was something I read somewhere that he would put the settings of the plays in like different countries, especially when commenting on political issues, because you don't want to write a play that criticizes the English monarchy when you live in its country. So yeah, that's why the play takes place in Denmark. Hamlet is a prince. It's common in Shakespeare's plays that the main character would be a person of nobility, especially kings, princes, like Romeo and Juliet. Romeo's a guy from a wealthy family. Macbeth, that's a literal king, a usurper. Hamlet, he's a prince. This was done purposefully, I think, because these characters would all have, they would all be in positions of power. So, I don't know, I guess as a normal person at that time, you would look up to them. And you're like, oh, wow, so wealthy, so brilliant, so smart. No, these people might have been wealthy or smart in the plays, but they all had one fatal flaw that made them extremely unlikable. And that's the point of Shakespeare's plays. To make that one trait so extremely vile or unlikable that you sort of just stare at the play in horror and be like, oh god, I better watch myself so I don't end up like that person. Essentially, that's the overall feel that you get from Shakespeare's plays, and that's why in this play we get a prince. The scene right now, again, near dawn, middle of the night. Two guards. That's I think all the context you need so far to go into the play, because it's kind of confusing when you just Bernardo, who's there?
A lot of Italians in Denmark, huh?
Look, I don't know. Maybe back then they had Italian names in Denmark. I don't know. All right. Who wants to be Bernardo? Great. No one wants to be Bernardo.
Oh wait, I can be Bernardo.
Okay. Just so you know, Francisco exits the scene pretty quickly. So anybody not want to read, but only want to read for a short period of time.
I shall take Francisco.
Okay, great. Okay, you two start, and then who? Okay, great, perfect. Marcellus enters later, and Horatio enters later. Horatio has a bit. I would say he has the most to say in the scene, but then it's not a lot. Again, it's pretty. They alternate characters pretty quickly, so I'll take one for the team and read Horatio because he reads the most. And wait, who's left to read Marcellus?
Me?
It'll be
Yes.
Ty.
Yes, you will be Marcellus then. Okay, but Act 1, Scene 1. Yeah, we start with Bernardo and Francisco. All right, read the left-hand side. Let's go.
Who's there?
Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself.
Long live the king.
Bernardo?
E.
You come most carefully upon your hour.
'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco.
For this relief much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart.
Have you had quiet guard?
Not a mouse stirring.
Well, good night. If you do meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them make haste.
I think I hear them. Stand, ho! Who's there?
Friends to this ground.
And liegemen to the day.
Give you good night.
Oh, farewell, honest soldier. Who hath relieved you?
Bernardo has my place. Give you good night.
Is it Hola?
Hola?
Hola, Bernardo.
Say what? Is Horatio there?
A piece of him.
Welcome, Horatio. Welcome, good Marcellus.
What? Has this thing appeared again tonight?
I have seen nothing.
Horatio says 'tis but our fantasy, and I will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if it happens this apparition come, he may approve our eyes and speak to it.
Tush, tush, 'twill not appear.
Bernardo?
Oh, that wasn't your line.
Oh, shoot, I can't. I just
Right.
hit tush, tush, will not
What the
appear.
fuck is it?
Yeah, okay. Now it's me. My bad. Sit down a while and let us again assail your ears that are so fortified against the story. What we have seen what we have tonight seen. Oh, Shakespeare.
Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this.
Last night of all, when yon sinking star that westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where it now burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell, then beating one.
Peace, break thee off. Look where it comes again.
In the same figure, like the king that's dead.
Thou art a scholar. Speak to it, Horatio. He's fucking pushing it off. Here, you go.
Looks it not like the king? Mark it, Horatio.
Most like, it harrows me with fear and wonder.
It would be so, it would be spoke to.
Question it, Horatio.
What art thou that usurped this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form, in which the majesty of buried Denmark did sometimes march? By heaven, I charge thee, speak.
It is offended.
See, it stalks away.
Stay, speak, speak, I charge thee, speak.
'Tis gone and will not answer.
How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is this not something more than fantasy? What think you on it?
Before my God, I might not disbelieve without the sensible and true avouch of mine own eyes.
Is it not like the king?
As
As
though
thou
art
art.
oh,
Wait, that is yours. My bad, my bad.
as thou art to thyself. Such was the very armor he had on when he the ambitious Norway combated. So frowned he once when, in an angry parle, he smote the leaded poleaxe on the ice. 'Tis strange.
Thus twice before and dump at this dead hour. With martial stock hath he gone by our watch.
In what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of mine opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state.
Good, now, sit down and tell me, he that knows, why the same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land, and why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war? Why such impressive shipwrights, whose sore task does not divide the Sunday from the week? What might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint labor with the day? Who is that can inform me? Oh my god.
Jeez, okay. After Horatio's long thing, we're gonna pause, but just let me get through this, oh my goodness. That can I. At least the whisper goes so, our last king, whose image even but now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway, thereto pricked on by most emulate pride, dared to the combat, in which our valiant Hamlet, for so the side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who by a sealed compact, well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his hands which he stood seized of to the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was wagged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras. Had he been vanquisher as, by the same covenant and carriage of the article designed, his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unproved metal, hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there sharked up a list of lawless resolutes for food and diet to some enterprise, that hath a stomach in it, which in no other, as it doth well appear to our state, but to recover of us by strong hand, and terms compulsatory, these foresaid lands so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch, and the chief head of this post-haste and rummage in the land. Alright, so there's a lot to unpack here. I think okay, so just to break down the scene, so to give more context, 2 watchmen, 1 leaves, and we get introduced to a scholar, Horatio. Horatio plays a pretty, I wouldn't say important, but he's one of the more vital secondary characters in the play. But we bring a scholar, and the reason for bringing a scholar near the middle of the night to, where the watchtower is apparently, where was it? Yeah, Marcella says, Horatio says, we're imagining it, but there's this ghost that keeps on appearing in the middle of the night. And evidently, Horatio, being a scholar, he's like, no, I don't believe in the superstitious whatever. And then they all see the ghost. And then, I don't know if it was made clear by the text or by my reading, but, the fact that it looks like a king, and then you, of all people, an ordinary person, demands it speaks. It is offended. Yeah, I wonder why. Yeah, so, I think the main thing to take from the scene is that the fact that all the characters see the ghost, it basically confirms, canonically in the play, that the supernatural exists. That's a very important, I wouldn't just say plot device, but it becomes very important later on that in this scene, all of them see the ghost. So it's not like later when Hamlet goes crazy, because that's not even a spoiler, because it's what the play is known for. it's not just out of nowhere, I would say that. No, like the ghost is a major plot device. uh but yeah, after they see the ghost, Marcellus is like, again, addressing Horatio, since he's, the scholar, the well-educated person, as opposed to, well, everyone else. I guess, would they be, if they're watching the tower, would they be soldiers? I don't know. I can't remember.
It would be,
But
yeah, like,
yeah,
'cause
they
just
should
in
be.
general.
Yeah, because I remember there is some symbolism later on regarding that, in, like the next scene almost. But yeah, Marcellus is like, tell me, Horatio, you're the well-educated one. You know what's going on. Like, why is it that we look like we're preparing for some war? And this is, I wouldn't say a major quote in the play, but it does hold significance. The Act 1, Scene 1, page 5. The line right before that, where Horatio says, "Despode some strange eruption to our state." The translation, I think this means bad news for this country. Horatio is amazing at foreshadowing, by the way. Yes, this means that something bad is coming for the country. And Marcellus is like, why are there cannons being manufactured? Why so many weapons are being brought? Why the shipbuilders apparently don't even rest on Sunday? I'm assuming that's supposed to be their day off. Like, why does it look like we're preparing for war? Considering the fact of the recent events. And Horatio, well, he goes through what recently happened. And he goes, well, I only know the rumors, but he's pretty spot on. We had our late king, which is already now passed, was also named Hamlet. Apparently, that's what they did. But the late Hamlet was a rival of Fortinbras, the king of Norway. So Hamlet, the king of Denmark, versus Fortinbras, the king of Norway. And Fortinbras basically challenged him, where basically it was winner take all. Whoever wins surrenders all their territories, takes their life, gives all their territories to the winner. And basically, the late King Hamlet apparently won. And now he has all his. Now the Kingdom of Denmark is in control of all the territories of Norway. But apparently, according to Horatio, Fortinbras' son, also Fortinbras, he describes him as, he is bold but unproven in the translated. Where is it? Great, I can't find it. Wait, whatever. The translated version says that he is bold but unproven. We'll see more of Fortinbras. You'll see more commentary on the young Fortinbras character later on, but that is important, that he describes him as bold but unproven. And apparently he's gathered just a bunch of people from the outskirts of the country, and they want to secure the land. Basically, they want to reclaim the territory. Fortinbras becomes... He only shows up at the end of the play? Does he show up at the end of the play? I don't know. But I can't remember. But even though he doesn't appear for a majority of the play, he stands as a... After a semester bio, my mind is... Okay, as you see the other characters in the play, their characters develop, Fortinbras becomes a very nice point of contrast to the rest of the characters. So, he's not just mentioned for no reason here. But if we were to try and analyze this from the short description by Horatio, bold but unproven. I guess if we're talking about in terms of honor, I guess if suddenly your dad just perished due to irresponsibly gambling away your entire country, I feel like as a prince you would have an obligation to the people in the land that you once were responsible for to try and take back that territory. I think is a reasonable assumption to make here.
Yes, Dad just made a crazy bet. What the hell?
Yeah, and it's also supposed to show, like these kings back then apparently were just this reckless with their power. There's no consideration for, hey, maybe this isn't a great idea for the people living on my territory. No, there was none of that. It was just a whole bunch of games, a whole bunch of gambling with the power that they had, which becomes important later on as well. Yes, but now we have context. And he wraps up. That's why there's such a commotion in Denmark.
Okay.
Okay.
Question: the Hamlet who killed old King Fortinbras, is that old Hamlet or the Prince Hamlet?
Okay, so the late King Hamlet, so he's already dead. We don't know why yet.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so the King Hamlet is already dead, but the King of Norway, King Fortinbras, is also dead. He was, after the battle, he died. So now, whenever I say Fortinbras or Hamlet, it refers to the princes, okay? And if I refer to the king, I'll explicitly say the late King Hamlet.
Okay.
Or the
and
late
the
king.
Ghost looks like, ghost looks like late King Hamlet.
Yeah, and Horatio was like, yeah, that's exactly what he looked like. So we get confirmation that the supernatural exists in this play, and that it is him. And that's, yes, that is important later on. All right. Yeah, okay, let's continue. Bernardo.
I think it may be no other but e'en so well-made sort that this portentous figure come armed through a watch like the king that was and is the question of these wars.
A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye, in the most high and palmy state of Rome, the little ere the mightiest Julius fell, the grave stole tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squawk and gibber in the Roman streets, as stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun, and the moist star, upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands, was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse, and even the like precurse of feared events, as harbingers preceding still the fates, and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen. But stuff, behold, lo, where it comes again! I'll cross it through it, blast me, stay, illusion! If thou hast any sound or use of voice, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. If thou art privy to thy country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, oh, speak! Or if thou hast uphoarded in thy life extorted treasure in the womb of earth, for which they say you spirits oft walk in death, speak of it, stay and speak! Stop it, Marcellus.
Shall I strike it with my partisan?
Do, if it not will stand.
Is here.
'Tis here.
'Tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical, to offer to show violence, for it is as the air invulnerable, and our vain blows malicious mockery.
I was about to speak when the cock crew.
And then it started like a guilty thing, upon a fearful summons. I have heard them, the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill-sounding throat awake the god of day, and, at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to his confine, and of the truth herein, this present object made probation.
It faded on the crowing of the cock. Some say that ever against that season comes, wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated, the bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say no spirit dares stir abroad. The nights are wholesome, and no planets strike, and no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm, so hallowed and gracious is that time.
So have I heard, and do in part believe it. But look, the morn, in russet mantle clad, walks o'er the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice, let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For, upon my life, the spirit, dumb to us, will speak to him. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting in our duty?
Let's do it, I pray, and I this morning know where we shall find him most conveniently.
Alright, that's the end of the first major scene. There's some more to unpack here. Let's see, okay. So Horatio is, well, again, proving that he's a scholarly person. He's like, I predict the ghost is just not a good sign. He compared it to Julius Caesar's assassination, where apparently, corpses ran through the streets of Rome. And then the ghost appears again. And Horatio, he just has not learned from the past interaction with the ghost. He's like, speak to me, and the ghost is just not having. And then I'm assuming this is supposed to be a comedic scene where he's just like, speak to me, and he's like, stop it, Marcellus. And Marcellus like basically hitting it or attempting to poke it with his spear. It's like, bro, it's a ghost. It's not gonna do anything.
Yeah, let's hit this incorporeal being with my stick.
The humanistic urge to poke things with a stick. Anyways, yeah, and then because, the rooster cries and the ghost immediately is like out of there. Again, it's confirming the superstitious people. And then Horatio is like, yes, this makes sense. The ghost is afraid of the daytime. We've just seen proof. But then after that, here's an interesting bit. Horatio continues, and he's like, I have an idea. Ghost is not talking to us. Why not find, like, Hamlet? The prince. Assuming that the ghost is who he appears to be, chances are he's more likely to speak to his son. And this is an interesting part. The spirit dumb to us will speak to him, and then, do you consent we shall acquaint him with it? As needful in our loves, fitting our duty. The translation, we owe it to him to tell him about this out of duty and love. It's interesting because, it's kind of to be expected, but still an interesting point, that they appear pretty loyal, I would say. Yeah, pretty loyal to the young prince. And, it's expected, considering the fact that, it's clear that they hold their king in high regard, so it makes sense that they would hold the prince in high regard. But, yeah, it seems like common sense at this point, but then later on when we see them interact, you'll see why they respect him. And Marcellus is like, yeah, let's do that. Again, the line, it's not famous or anything, as needful in our love, fitting our duty, but it's one of the lines that you just want to remember if you do analyses on this play. Alright, we got a new scene now. Bro, everybody's here. Okay, this is the king holding court. I'm not familiar as to how at that time what a court would look like the positioning, the sitting of the people, or if they're even standing. But I just picture this in my head, if the play is happening, just a bunch of people gathered around. I'm assuming that the king... Okay, I'm assuming he has regular sessions with the court, whatever that entails, addressing any issues, any happenings in the kingdom, or whatever. So I assume that that's what's going on here. I don't know how regularly a king would hold court, but I'm assuming it's a pretty regular thing. But yeah, you see Claudius, king of Denmark. So the throne isn't like, we now know the scene, it isn't like the late king has just recently died and the prince, Hamlet, as it's made clear with Horatio in the last scene, is now ascending the throne. No, we get another person as king. Gertrude, the queen, Hamlet, and then we get a cast of other characters that... Yeah, they're just part of the court for now. As for how the line distribution will go, okay. Claudius has the most to speak, so I'll just take one for the team as well. Again. Yeah, Laertes has some lines to speak. Okay, it's Claudius, Hamlet, and mostly Gertrude. Huh. And Laertes. Okay. Alright, I'll be Claudius, because we have no idea who he is right now. I'll just be the unknown person. Who wants to be Gertrude?
Claudius and Gertrude are married.
Yes, she is the queen. Literally, Claudius will address this. Like, you'll be the first one in the scene to address it right after this. So, who wants to be Gertrude, the queen?
Yeah, I can do that.
Cool. Alright, who wants to be Hamlet?
Your ceiling fan's gonna fall off and hit you in the head, bro.
Alright, I'm gonna assign. Okay, Laertes has the least to speak about. So, who wants the least? Trinity. Oh, frick. Yamaguchi.
Why is Yamaguchi being attacked like this?
Yamaguchi, do you want to speak more in this scene?
I don't mind any.
Okay.
We can let Kai decide.
Can I speak more?
Okay, you'll speak more.
Yeah.
You'll be Hamlet then. Okay, and Yamaguchi, you'll be Laertes. Okay. Polonius,
Okay.
just okay. What? Just everybody's gathered here. I don't think you need context for who they are right now. Okay, and I'll explain everything after the scene. But first, Claudius. Okay, this part is important. Okay, the king, obviously in command of the court, speaks first. That's logical. And then he would, one by one, address people in order of rank. This is important, apparently. In order of rank, and just pay attention to the order in which Claudius addresses people. Yeah, just pay attention to that as the scene progresses. But here we go. Though yet of Hamlet, our dear brother's death, the memory be green, and that it us befitted, to bear our hearts in grief, and our whole kingdom to be contracted in one brow of woe. Yet so far hath discretion fought with nature, that we with wisest sorrow think on him, together with a remembrance of ourselves. Therefore, our sometime sister, now our queen, this imperial jointress to this warlike state, have we as twere with a defeated joy, with an auspicious and a dropping eye, with mirth and funeral, and with dirge and marriage, in equal scale weighing delight and dole, taken to wife. Now, nor have we herein barred your better wisdoms, for which have freely gone with this affair along. For all our thanks. Now follows that you know, young Fortinbras, holding a weak supposal of our worth, or thinking by our late dear brother's death, our state to be disjoint and out of frame. Colleagued with the dream of his advantage, he hath not failed to pester us with message, importing the surrender of those lands, lost by his father, with all bonds of law, to our most valiant brother. So much for him. And two messengers enter. They have one line, so they're not important. Now for ourself and for this time of meeting. Thus much the business is, we have here writ to Norway, uncle of young Fortinbras, who impotent and bedrid scarcely hears of his nephew's purpose, to suppress his further gait herein, in that the levies, the lists, and full proportions were all made out of his subject, and we here dispatch you, good Cornelius, and you, Voltimand, forbearers of this greeting to old Norway, giving to you no further personal power, to business with the king more than the scope of these dilated articles allow. Farewell, and let your haste commend your duty. Cornelius, Fultimate said, in that and all things we will show our duty. And then they leave. You never see them again. And then Claudius again, we doubt it nothing. Heartily farewell. And now, Laertes, what is the news with you? You told us of some suit. What is, Laertes? You cannot speak of reason to the Dane and lose your voice. What wouldst thou beg, Laertes? That shall not be my offer, not thy asking. The head is no more native to the heart, the hand more instrumental to the mouth, than is the throne of Denmark to thy father. What wouldst thou have, Laertes?
My dread lord, you leave in favour to return to France, from whence, though willingly I came to Denmark to show my duty in your coronation, yet now, I must confess, that duty done, my thoughts and wishes bend again toward France, and bow them to your gracious leave and pardon.
Have ye your father's leave? What say Polonius? Oh, frick, it's okay. He speaks like once. Polonius, which is apparently Laertes' father. He hath, my lord, wrung from me my slow leave, by laboursome petition, and at last, upon his will I sealed my hard consent. I do beseech you, give him leave to go. And then Claudius, take thy fair hour, Laertes. Time be thine, and thy best graces spend it at thy will. But now, my cousin Hamlet and my son. Hamlet.
Where are we? I would. What page
We're on
is
page
it?
We're on
8.
page 8. Page 8.
Page 8.
Line 65.
Oh, okay. I was like, where did I? A little more than kin and less than kind.
Claudius, how is it that the clouds still hang on you?
Not so, my lord. I am too much of the sun.
Good Hamlet, cast thy nighted colour off, and let thine eye look like friend on Denmark. Do not forever with thy valiant lids seek for thy noble father in the dust. Thou knowest 'tis common that all lives must die, passing through nature to eternity.
Hey,
Hey,
madam.
madame.
Oh, frick.
Hey, madame. It is common.
If it be, why seem it so particular with thee?
Seems, madame? Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis not alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy suspiration of forced breath, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejective haveur of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are actions that a man might play, but I have that within which passive slow show, these but the tappings and the suits of woe.
'Tis sweet and commendable in your nature, Hamlet, to give these morning duties to your father. But you must know that your father lost a father, that father lost his, and the survivor bound in filial obligation for some turn to do obsequious sorrow, but to persevere in obstinate condolement is a course of impious stubbornness. 'Tis unmanly grief. It shows a will most incorrect to heaven, a heart unfortified, a mind impatient, an understanding simple and unschooled. For what we know must be and is as common sense as any the most vulgar thing to sense. Why should we in our peevish opposition take it to heart? Fie! 'Tis a fault to heaven, a fault against the dead, a fault to nature, to reason most absurd, whose common theme is death of fathers, and who still hath cried, from the first course till he that died today, this must be so. We pray you throw to earth this unprevailing woe, and think of us as your father. For let the world take note, you are the most immediate to our throne, and with no less nobility of love than that which dearest father bears his son, do I impart toward you. For your intent to go back to school in Wittenberg, it is most retrograde to our desire, and we beseech you, bend to remain here in the cheer and comfort of our eye, our chiefest courtier, cousin and our son.
Let not thy mother lose her prayers, Hamlet. I pray thee, stay with us. Do not go to Wittenberg.
I shall in all my best obey you, madame.
Alright, and then after Claudius, everyone exits, so we're gonna pause there. Why 'tis a loving and a fair reply. Be as ourself in Denmark. Madam, come. This gentle and enforced accord of Hamlet sits smiling and is to my heart, and grace whereof no jocund health that Denmark drinks today, but the great cannon to the clouds shall tell, and the kings rouse the heavens shall bruit again, for speaking earthly thunder. Come away. And then the court all exits, and then Hamlet is left alone. But before that, great, we have a lot of interesting stuff has happened. So, we learned that Claudius is the brother of the late King Hamlet, and he's the one that apparently inherits the throne. I'm pretty tall. It's so clear. You can tell that he's full of he's a piece of trash. There's no better way to describe it. But okay, it's just his entire monologue at the beginning. I was like, holy. Just reading the translated version. Although I still have fresh memories of my brother, the elder Hamlet's death, I think it's wise to mourn him while also thinking about my well-being. Huh?
It's like, oh no, my brother's dead. Anyways,
now I've also married my former sister-in-law with mixed feelings.
You know, it's given like, woe is me, and let's hear myself for this absolutely tragic position.
Yeah, like the second you hear him, you're like, oh damn, I wonder why the ghost appeared. Who was it? It's like, I don't think this is a great sign of our country. Yeah, it was Horatio, was it? I can't remember. Who basically went, I don't think this is the ghost appearing is a great sign for a country. Superstitiously wise. And you get to Claudius, and he's like, I've married my former sister-in-law, the queen, with mixed feelings of happiness and sadness. And then he has the audacity to go, I know in marrying Gertrude I'm only doing what all of you have wisely advised all along, for which I thank you. And he's like, now, down to business. Anyways, huh? Okay, but that's not it. This man continues. Okay, this is the idiocy continues. Okay, young Fortinbras. Okay, he addresses the issue. And he's assuming that, with the fact that our late king is gone, and that, basically he assumes that the politically wise, everything's unstable, which is why he's making his move now. And then he sends a messenger. Okay, he calls for 2 messengers. And he writes a letter. You would assume, okay, just logically at this point, you know that the son of your enemy, your dead enemy, essentially, I know it's not like a personal enemy, but considering the fact he's now king of Denmark, he would have to take Norway as his enemy. The son of your dead enemy is now rallying a bunch of people to take back the territory, which is yours, which is you are obligated to defend. You write a letter to his old bedridden uncle, who you claim know nothing of his nephew's plans, since all the troops that the young Fortinbras assembled are thus under his uncle's control. The fact that he's an old bedridden man, I don't think, okay, logically he would have the power to even stop the young Fortinbras. Since if you think about it, the fact that he's assembling a bunch of these people, they are not, I don't know, maybe the uncle was formerly in charge of the military, I don't know, but the fact that it's the young Fortinbras who's assembling all these people, who's rallying all these people to fight for their territory back, I would assume that the uncle's useless. Like he said, he's an old, bedridden man. And yet he's sending the letter to the uncle in hopes that he will stop his nephew? Yeah, he can stop his nephew. I don't know about the hundreds of people now supporting him. But yeah, it's the first sign of his incompetence as king, I would say. Because logically, it just makes no sense. And then, and like, why not directly address Fortinbras? Why not directly write to Fortinbras yourself? Like, I don't know about you, but judging from the situation, do you want like another war right now? Like politically wise, if you are the new king, I wouldn't advise the best choice of action to immediately go off to war right after you become king. Uh, is there any like sense? Obviously, we know he wants his territory back, but there's like no communication whatsoever. Like you don't just go, oh, I see a person gathering army, we fight immediately. No, there has to be some sort of communication. But no, he doesn't. He just the messenger. He's like, yeah, go to this old guy who's like about to perish. Uh, instead of directly the guy who's leading this resistance. It's I don't know. It speaks volumes to me personally of his incompetence. But yeah, the fact that he's like, yeah, go all the way to Norway, only with this letter addressing this old dude, the uncle of the guy, who's the head of the resistance. It's kind of insane to me. And then after, like, this is just a train wreck that continues. After the messengers leave, he goes to Laertes. He addresses Laertes, which is apparently, apparently, he also goes, oh yeah, your father is like an advisor, I guess. Your father and the Danish throne are as close as the mind and heart. Yeah. His father, Polonius, who's also there, but he only speaks once. His father is like, oh yeah, you're the son of a really, really close advisor to the king. He addresses the son of an advisor to the king, and then Hamlet later on. Shouldn't, like I said, pay attention to the rank order. It's kind of disrespecting the fact that you have a whole queen and a son there by directly addressing the son of the advisor, not even the advisor, like the son of an advisor first after you deal with political matters. That's kind of a big respect thing. Another indication that Claudius doesn't know what he's doing. But anyways, another important character in the play introduced, Laertes. And apparently, because of the double coronation funeral event that happened, he's like, oh yeah, I was holy, okay, I didn't notice this until now, but he wants permission to go back to France, which I'm assuming he was, it doesn't even mention what he was doing in France, but basically he came here for the funeral, coronation, now he wants to go back. I'm assuming, I'm not sure about how etiquette in court at that time works, but apparently if you want to leave the country, you need permission from the king. I don't know, but I'm assuming that that's how it worked. And then Claudius goes, did you get your father's permission? Like, what did he say? And this is what Polonius says. My son has worn me down by asking so many times, and I grudgingly consented. Please let him go. Not exactly the best start. Again, Polonius is also a key character in this play. And just your opinions. If the reason why he's letting his son go, because of his son relentlessly begging him, and him just not letting him go, but then now letting him because he's just exasperated with him. What does that show of you, of like one of the most important advisors to the king, his abilities?
A weak-willed guy.
Yeah, it's not good, essentially. None of these people know what they're doing. But yeah, we'll see more from later on. And then it continues. It gets worse. And then Claudius is like, okay, whatever. Laertes, you're allowed to go. You're allowed to leave the country. And now Hamlet, my nephew and my son. And Hamlet's like muttering. There's like a little more kin, less than kind. He's like, too many family ties there for me. Hamlet, I don't know, when he's not like, well, as we know of him in this scene, he's like a little, he's depressed, obviously. He's upset at what's happening, evidently. He's just sassing the king at this point. And Claudius is like, why are you so depressed? Like, this. And Hamlet's like, that's not true. Your son is out in the sun. I am so happy. And Gertrude is like, she's like, stop mourning your father that just died. Stop wearing these black clothes. It's like, no, thou knowest 'tis common that all lives must die. Like, everybody dies. That's normal. And Hamlet's like, yes, mother, it happens. And Hamlet's like,
Everybody dies. Stop being sad.
exactly. And Gertrude is like, what's wrong, son? And it's like, Hamlet's like, seems, madam? I know not seems. It's just sassing them all. He's like, yeah, I'm wearing like black clothes. I look depressed. None of them can express what I really feel. And he's clearly upset over his dad just dying, which is normal of a son. And Claudius is like, you're so sweet to mourn your father like this. But like, you must understand that your father also lost his father once, which lost a father before him, and every time a son had to mourn
Sorry,
for his father.
Cutting out for anyone else?
Sorry.
Just now, cut out.
Occasionally you will cut out and I miss words.
Okay, that's weird. But anyways, after Hamlet is like, seems like, it doesn't matter what I look like right now. Emotionally, I'm worse than what I look like. And Claudius is like, you're so sweet to mourn your dad like this, but like, you have to remember that your dad also once lost a dad who also once lost a dad. And it's like, it's normal for people to lose dads. So overdoing it is just weird. And he continues. He goes so far as to claim that overdoing it is committing a crime against heaven. It's irrational. The truth is, all fathers must die. And then, please give up this useless mourning of yours and start thinking of me as your new father. Bruh. And then he goes, he has the audacity to go that he acknowledges you are next in line for the throne. And I love you just as much as any father loves his son. He's essentially going, I know that he's indirectly going, I know that you think that you probably deserve this throne, but like, I'm sitting on it now. So you just nicely wait until I die and then you can be king.
Awesome.
The audacity of this man. And then he goes, and he continues, and your plans for going back to Wittenberg is not that I want. I'm asking you to stay here in my company as the number one member of my court, my nephew, and now my son too. Wittenberg. Is that a place that actually exists today?
I think so, right?
Wittenberg. That sounds like a Germany. It is in Germany. But, is it not? Wait, is it mentioned here? Well, it'll appear in the next scene anyway, so it's not spoiler, but Hamlet goes to Wittenberg to go to school. He goes to university there. And then Gertrude is like, yeah, I agree with him. Please don't go back to Wittenberg. Bruh. The reason why I said, I don't know if you caught it earlier on, where I was like, I didn't catch that until now. He lets Laertes, the son of an advisor, to go to France. And I don't think at any point in the play it mentions whether Laertes goes to France to just have fun or to go to school. I'm assuming he doesn't go to France to go to school, but it's mentioned in like almost the next scene that Hamlet goes to Wittenberg to go to university. These parents are denying their son a university education. and allowing the son of an advisor to go off to France to have fun. Obviously Hamlet obeys, because, like, what is he gonna do? Disobey the king in front of the court? Gertrude and Claudius claim that they want Hamlet to stay because it shows your love. Gertrude, she doesn't seem to be the one pushing this, but, like, she's still supporting Claudius. But anyone wanna guess at why Claudius insists Hamlet stays here instead of going back to school? Anyone
Does he
want to
not
guess?
want Hamlet to, like, be more knowledgeable and capable and take the throne?
That's a pretty good guess. That's probably really close to the truth. I actually didn't think about that. But yes, that's a valid point. Anyone want to guess? And if you have no idea, you can just say, I don't know.
I don't know, he doesn't want him to leave the country. I don't kill him in battle. Here, go off, lead this army, and then die.
That's a good guess. But essentially, it's because it'll be made more clear as it'll be made extremely clear as the play progresses. And that's because he doesn't trust Hamlet. Like, he's already suspicious enough with the Fortinbras, like, challenging his territory. He doesn't want Hamlet out there at university plotting, doing whatever it is that he can't see. Like, you know the thing about keeping your enemies closer? He's essentially doing that. And of course he's using his own mother against him because, yeah, like, what he's gonna do. What's he gonna do? Say no to both the king and his mother? Like, he can't. But yeah, that's about, there's a lot to unpack, but okay.
Why is the mother not supporting the son and supporting this brother-in-law?
Um, that'll be made clear later on, but, like, just from the scene alone, you can tell that she doesn't really have a lot of power in court. She doesn't have a lot of right to even speak in court. If you notice, any time that she does speak, it's after Claudius, and also after it also follows his line of questioning or his line of speaking. It's like Claudius is the first one that goes, "Why do you look so depressed, Hamlet?" And later, after Hamlet speaks, then Gertrude also follows along on Claudius's side. She's, like, supporting him, but, like, in the way that she doesn't really. It's different from how Laertes or Polonius talks to Claudius. It's clear that she doesn't really have a lot of power in the position she is right now, despite being queen.
Okay.
Yeah. There are points that you can use to refute the fact that she knows what she's doing later on, but then again, that's complicated analysis later on. But yeah, after this, okay, the court, they'll disappear. Now it's Hamlet's turn to monologue. And then after that, we have Horatio, Marcellus, and Bernardo entering. So, do we want to resume our Horatio, Marcellus, and Bernardo roles? and then Yamaguchi, you can be Hamlet.
Sure.
Alright, so I'm Horatio, and I can't remember who is Marcellus and Bernardo, but you
Wait,
guys
we're
are.
on scene 2, page what? Where are we now?
We're on page 9, the very end of page 9, when Hamlet starts talking. So line 130.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can't remember who was Marcellus and who was Bernardo, but yeah, it's these people next. So Yamaguchi or Hamlet, you can start.
Start at 130, right?
Yeah, one line above 130, so 129.
Oh, okay. Oh, that this too sullied flesh would melt, thaw, and resolve itself into a dew, or that the everlasting had not fixed his canon against self-slaughter. O God, God, how weary, stale, flat, and unprofitable seem to me all the uses of this world. Fie on it, fie. 'Tis an unweeded garden that grows to seed. Things rank and gross in nature possesses it merely, that it should come to this. But 2 months dead, nay, not so much, not two. So excellent a king, that was to this Hyperion to a satire, so loving to my mother, that he might not beteem the winds of heaven visit her face too roughly. Heaven and earth, must I remember? Why, she would hang on him as if increase of appetite had grown by what it fed on. And yet, within a month, let me not think on it. Frailty, thy name is woman. A little month, or ere those shoes were old with which she followed my poor father's body, like Niobe, all tears. Why she, even she, O God, a beast that wants discourse of reason, would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father than I to Hercules. Within a month, ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married, O most wicked speed, to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. It is not, nor it cannot come to good, but break my heart, for I must hold my tongue.
Now Horatio, Marcellus, and Bernardo enters. Hail to your lordship.
I'm glad to see you well. Horatio? Horatio?
Oh, oh, the same, my lord. And you, and your poor servant ever.
Sir, my good friend, I'll change that name with you. And what make you from Wittenberg, Horatio? Marcellus.
My good lord.
I am very glad to
I'm
see
very
you.
glad.
Oh, frick, that's
Oh,
you.
yes. Okay, I'm very glad to see you. Good even, sir. But what in faith make you from Wittenberg?
A truant disposition, my good my lord.
I would not hear your enemy say so, nor shall you do mine ear that violence. To make it truster of your own report against yourself. I know you are no truant, but what is your affair in Elsinore? Will teach you to drink deep ere you depart.
My lord, I came to see your father's funeral.
I pray thee, do not mock me, fellow student. I think it was to see my mother's wedding.
Indeed, my lord, it followed hard upon.
Thrift, Horatio. The funeral baked meats did coldly furnish forth the marriage tables. Would I had met my dearest foe in heaven, or ever I had seen that day, Horatio. My father, methinks I see my father.
Where, my lord?
In my mind's eye, Horatio.
I saw him once. He was a goodly king.
He was a man. Take him for all in all. I shall not look upon his life again.
My lord, I think I saw him yesternight.
So who?
My lord, the king your father.
The king, my father?
Seizing your admiration for a while, with an attent ear till I may deliver upon the witness of these gentlemen this marvel to you.
For God's love, let me hear.
2 nights together had these gentlemen, Marcellus and Bernardo, on their watch. In the dead waste and middle of the night, thus been encountered, a figure like your father, armed at point exactly, capapi? I don't know, appears before them, and with a solemn march goes slowly and stately by them. Thrice he walked by their oppressed and fear-surprised eyes, within his trion's length, whilst they, distilled almost to jelly with the act of fear, stand dumb and speak not to him. This to me in dreadful secrecy impart they did, and I with them the 3rd night keep the watch, where, as they had delivered both in time, form of the thing, each word made true and good, the apparition comes. I knew your father. These hands are not more like.
But where was this?
My lord, on the platform where we watch.
Did you not speak to it?
My lord, I did, but answer made it none. Yet once methought I lifted up its head and did address itself to motion, like as it would speak. But even then the morning cock crew loud, and at the sound it shrunk in haste away and vanished from our sight.
This is very strange.
As I do live, my honored lord, 'tis true, and we did think it writ down in our duty to let you know of it.
Indeed, indeed, sirs. But this troubles me. Hold you the watch tonight?
We do, my
We do,
lord.
my lord.
Armed, say you?
Armed, my
Armed, my
lord.
lord.
From top to toe?
My lord,
My
from
lord,
head to
from head
foot.
to foot.
Then saw you not his face?
Oh yes, my lord, he wore his beaver up.
What, looked he frowningly?
A countenance more in sorrow than in anger.
Pale or red?
Nay, very pale.
And fixed his eyes upon you?
Most constantly.
I would I had been there.
It would have much amazed you.
Very like, stayed it long?
While one with moderate haste might tell 100.
Longer, longer.
Not when I sought.
His beard was grizzled, no?
It was, as I have seen it in his life, a sable silvered.
I will watch tonight. Perchance 'twill walk again.
I warrant it all, it will.
If it assume my noble father's person, I'll speak to it, though hell itself should gape and bid me hold my peace. I pray you all, if you have hitherto concealed this sight, let it be tenable in your silence still, and whatsoever else shall hap tonight, give it an understanding, but no tongue. I will requite your loves, so fare you well. Upon the platform, twixt 11 and 12, I'll visit you.
Our duty to your honor.
Duty to your honor, lord.
Mm.
Farewell, as mine to you. Farewell. Oh, is this? My father's spirit in arms. All is not well. I doubt some foul play. With the night word come. Till then sit still, my soul. Foul deeds will rise, though all the earth o'erwhelm them to men's eyes.
Alright. And then everybody exits. Yeah, the scene changes, so going all the way back to when the court exits and it's just Hamlet on his own.
Yeah.
And this is his this is his first crash out. Yeah, okay, so clearly he's been bottling up his frustrations, having no one. There's just no one that he can talk to. But it's pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty. There is some insight to be gleaned, though, in his first crash out, because he does state the obvious. He's like, my father's only been dead for 2 months, not even two, barely two, and he obviously glorifies his father. He clearly looked up to him. As for the fact that we know that the king's essentially he was prepared to gamble away his entire country against Fortinbras. I wouldn't exactly say that that's the best impression for the king, but clearly he holds his father in high regard. And he goes into detail about why he was so upset over his mother remarrying. He's like my father. It's not like he mistreated my mother. No, he was so loving toward my mother that he kept the wind from blowing too hard on her. But then, interestingly enough, while he's ranting, he does make a point where he's like, "Frailty, thy name is woman." This line is important if you want to analyze the play from a feminist perspective. as in Hamlet's treatment towards women. Clearly, after what has happened with his mother remarrying Claudius so quickly, I guess you could say that I'm not saying that he didn't have these ideas before the murder of his father and the remarriage of his mother, but it's like he's given evidence for his beliefs that women are lesser. But yeah, frailty, thy name is woman. This line is pretty well known. And then, interestingly, after near the end of his rant, it goes less than a month after my father's dead, even before the tears in the cheeks cheeks had dried, she remarried. Before, he states that it was slightly less than 2 months, and now he's saying it's less than 1 month. It's the first sign that I would say that not only is he emotionally unstable at this point, but that he loses his sense of rationality when he rants to himself like this. It would be like the first sign, I would say, this entire play, that he's not exactly the most mentally stable guy when he's pissed off. Which is important. And again, at the very end of his rant, she married almost wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets. Yeah, I guess it would be considered incest, marrying your own sister-in-law. A lot of people like to take this line and run with it. It's pretty agreed upon that's an outdated method of analysis, where you impose, you all probably know about Freud, but they like to impose the whole Freudian psychoanalysis thing and be like, Hamlet, analyze Hamlet and his relationship with his mom, based off of his psychoanalytical theory. And I'm like, it's one line. It's one line in this entire play, and you're choosing to run with it. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. You'll see later on. But yeah, that line's used in that sort of analysis. But interestingly, after he finishes ranting himself, Horatio, Marcellus, Bernardo enter. And it's like he has a split personality or something. He acts completely normal, and it's not that he just acts completely normal. He actually acts extremely respectful to them as well. Like, and Horatio's like, "Hail to your lordship," and he's like, "I'm glad to see you well, Horatio, or do forget myself. It's like, nice to see you again, Horatio. That is your name, right?" Like, he clearly, that line, he doesn't know him that well, but he has seen him a couple of times. He remembers his name. And the way that Horatio responds as well. "That's me, sir, still your respectful servant." And then it shows that evidently that line before, in the very first scene, where they're like, "I think it's our duty to report this to our prince," that clearly that they hold him in high regard. It's not just out of respect, just because he's royalty. No, it's that they hold him in high regard. And individually, even though he addresses both Marcellus and Bernardo, like, this guy is a pretty well, it's not, he's an extremely well-mannered guy, man, I should say. And, it's clear from the conversation, Horatio and Hamlet, they go to the same university, or they go to the same school. And, okay, yeah, Hamlet, Horatio, they talk. He's like, "Why are you skipping school?" And it's like, "Your father's funeral." And then, yeah, Hamlet jokes about the funeral and the wedding being one. And then they comment, both Horatio and comment on the king passing, yeah. And then they tell him about the ghost. Yeah, I think that's about it for the scene. It's mostly Hamlet's. Does it count as a monologue? I don't think this is his first monologue. This is more like him ranting. And then tells him about the ghost and the fact that how he interacts with all of them, the way that he addresses every one of them. Later on in the play, there are more instances of this. And again, just that the split personality that he has, where on his own, he's like a lunatic almost. He loses all rationality. And then on his own, he's not. And then interacting with the people, with the servants to the crown, he's actually, like, he acts very much like a gentleman. And you will see this as the play progresses. But yeah, he now knows about the ghost and plans for... Oh, okay, the next night, they're going to go see the ghost. Alright, any questions about the analysis? It's pretty straightforward, I think.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, very clear.
Cool. Alright, the next scene, there's Laertes, the advisor to the son. The son to the advisor. Ophelia, his sister. I think in this next scene, it's mostly Laertes, Ophelia. Yeah, Ophelia has the least to say. I think you see the common theme now in the play. As long as there's a male character around, the females have less to say. Again, showing that back then women, obviously, lower, they didn't have that much power, they didn't have that much right to even speak. So Ophelia has the least to say. And later on, Polonius also enters the scene. Yeah, so it's Ophelia, Polonius, and Laertes. I've spoken a lot, so I'm just not gonna talk for the scene. Who wants what? Who wants the least to say as Ophelia? Trinity, you were just Hamlet, so you had a lot to say. So I think you'll take a break and take Ophelia.
Okay, Emily.
It's you had an entire almost a monologue. Okay.
Yes,
who want-
Yamaguchi was attacked 4 times, I think.
Oh, right. I didn't even notice.
This
We
got
should keep
me every
we should keep
time.
an attack counter.
Okay.
Just doxing everyone.
Okay. Yamaguchi, Ophelia. Laertes and Polonius both have a lot to say in the scene, although Laertes does exit first. So, who wants what?
I could take Laertes.
Okay. And, Kai, you'll be, Polonius. So,
Okay.
let's start.
My necessaries are embarked. Farewell, and sister, as the winds give benefit and conveys assistance. Do not sleep, but let me hear from you.
You doubt that?
For Hamlet and the trifling of his favor, hold it in a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primary nature, for not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more but so?
Think it no more, for nature crescent does not grow alone, views and bulk, but as this temple waxes, the inward service of the mind and soul grows wide withal. Perhaps he loves you now, and now no soil nor cottle doth besmirch the virtue of his will, but you must fear his greatness weighed, his will not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth. He may not, as unvalued persons do, carve for himself, for on his choice depends the safety and health of his whole state, and therefore his choices must be circumscribed unto the voices and yielding of that body whereof he is the head. And then, if he says he loves you, it fits your wisdom so far to believe it, as he in his particular act and place may give, say, His deed, which no further than the main voice of Denmark goes withal, then weigh what loss your honor may sustain if to credit your ear you list his songs, or lose your heart or chase treasure open to his unmastered importunity. Fear it, Ophelia, fear it, my dear sister, and keep you in the rear of your affection, out of the shot and danger of desire. The cherished maid is prodigal enough, if she unmask her beauty to the moon. Virtue itself scapes not communist strokes. The cankered galls, infant of spring, too oft before their buttons be closed, and in the morn and liquid youth, contagious blasphemies are the most intimate. Be wary then. Best safety lies in fear. Youth too itself rebels, though none else near.
I shall the effect of this good lesson keep as watchman to my heart. But, good my brother, do not, as some ungracious pastors do, show me the steep and thorny way to heaven, whiles, like a puffed and reckless libertine, himself the primrose path of dalliance treads and recks not his own reed.
Oh, fear me not. I stay too long, but here my father comes. A double blessing. Occasion smiles upon a second leave.
Is that me?
Yeah, Polonius.
Okay. Yet here, Laertes, a board for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail, and you are stayed for. There, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory. Look thou, character, give thy thoughts no tongue, nor any unproportioned thought his act. Be thou familiar, but by no means vulgar. Those friends thou hast, then, their adoption tried, grapple them unto thy soul with hoops of steel, but do not dull thy palm with entertainment for each new hatched, unfledged comrade. Beware of entrance to a quarrel of being in. Bear that the posed, but may be beware of thee. Give every man thy ear, but few thy voice. Take each man's censure, but reserve thy judgment. Costly thy habit, as thy pursuit can buy, but not expressed in fancy. Rich, not gaudy, for the apparel of oft proclaims the man. And they in France of the best rank and station are always select and generous chief in that. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both self and friend, and borrowing dulls the edge of husbandry. This above all to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the day, as the night the day. Thou canst not be then, what? Thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this in thee.
Most humbly do I take leave, my lord.
The time invites you. Go. Your servants tend.
Farewell, Ophelia, and remember well what I have said to you. Psst.
Oh,
Ophelia.
wait, I lost it. What page?
Act 1,
Page
Scene 3, page 4.
Key 3, page 4. Oh, 'tis in my memory locked, and you yourself shall keep the key of it.
Farewell.
What is it, Ophelia, he hath said to you?
So please you, something touching the Lord Hamlet.
Very well, bethought. 'Tis told me he hath very oft of late given private time to you, and you yourself have your audience been most free and bounteous. If it be so as 'tis put on me, and that in way of caution, I must tell you, you do not understand yourself so clearly as it behooves my daughter and your honor. What is between you? Give me up the truth.
He hath, my lord, of late made many tenders of his affection to me.
Affection? Pooh, you speak like a green girl, unsifted in such perilous circumstance. Do you believe his tenders, as you call?
I do not know, my lord, what I should think.
Mary, I'll teach you. Think yourself a baby that you 10 tenders for true pay, which are not sterling. Tender yourself more dearly, or not to crack the wind of the poor phrase, run it thus. You'll tender me a
My lord, he hath importuned me with love in honorable fashion.
nay, fashion, you may call it. Go to, go to.
and have given countenance to his speech, my lord, with almost all the holy vows of heaven.
Nay, spring to catch wood. I do know when the blood burns how prodigal the soul the tongue vows. These blazes, daughter, giving more light than heat, extinct in both, even in their promise as it is a making, you must not take for fire. From this time be somewhat scanter of your maiden presence. Send your entreatments at a higher rate than a command to parley. For Lord Hamlet believes so much in him that he is young, and with a larger tether he may walk than may be given to you. In few, Ophelia, do not believe his vows, for they are brokers, not of that dye which their investments show, but mere employers of unholy suits, breathing like sanctified and pious bawds, the better to beguile. This is for all. I would not, in plain terms from this time forth, have you slander any moment leisure, as to give words or talk with the Lord Hamlet. Look to it. I charge you. Come your ways.
I shall obey, my lord.
Alright, so the scene changes after this. So we get interesting conversation between Ophelia, Laertes, and Polonius. Obviously, Laertes is heading off to France. But before that, we get some interesting insight onto these three characters. Ophelia, apparently Hamlet. Wait, I'm just trying to read the text. What stage are they in their relationship right now?
You're just
Did
flirting.
he propose to her?
Yeah, I think
Oh, she proposed?
he tempered I think it's
Don't they just have the hots for each other?
yeah, I think it's just back and forth at this point. There's nothing like solid in terms of,
Yeah.
but like it's made clear at least that Hamlet definitely has a thing for Ophelia. And Laertes, you know the thing where it's like it's always the most misogynistic, unscrupulous men themselves who, when they see like their younger sister, dating, or they go, oh yeah, be careful of men. They do like a whole bunch of these. There are a ton of bad men out there who just play with your feelings, and Ophelia, she's not having it with Laertes. Because Laertes is like, Hamlet. He can go around flirting. It's possible that you're just like a fling. Remember that he makes a good point that he's a part of the royal family. It's like he has his obligations. If Claudius like demands that he marry someone from, anyone really. It doesn't matter if it's another country or another noblewoman. Like, he's a slave to his family's obligations. He does make that good point. But he then goes on to say about, oh yeah, you have to be careful. You have to not give in to this seductive talk, and you have to keep your love under control. And then Ophelia's just not having it. She's like, she doesn't. It's not clear, but she's like, I'll keep your words in mind, but like, don't. Translation: don't be like a bad priest who fails to practice what he preaches, showing me the steep and narrow way to heaven while you frolic on the primrose path of sin. She's like, basically going, fine, like, I'll remember what you've told me, but like, what's the saying? Don't make sure you practice what you preach.
She's literally going like, okay, boomer. Like,
she's saying that in like in a much more dignified way. She's like, all right, but like, don't act like you don't do the exact same things that you warning me against. But then Polonius enters. Yeah. But then Polonius enters. He doesn't address Ophelia first, obviously. He addresses his son, and just his blessing? I don't know. The advice that he's giving Laertes? Like, we already know from before, he didn't want Laertes to go to France, but then eventually he begged him so many times. He's like, fine, just go. And now, we already know that he's pretty weak-willed. And then now the advice. Keep in mind that Polonius, he's straight up the advisor to the king, okay? And this is the advice that he's giving to his son. Here, try to remember a few rules of life. Don't say what you're thinking, don't be quick to act on what you think. And you're like, okay, that's somewhat reasonable. Be friendly with people, but don't overdo it. Once you've tested out your friends and found them trustworthy, hold on to them, but don't waste your time shaking friends' hands with every guy you meet. Don't be quick to pick a fight, but once you're in one, hold your own. Listen to many people, but talk to few. What? His advice is borderline contradictory. He's like, it's clear that they as members of the royal court, I think it's probably made clear by now that there is some scheming and some, it's not like you can trust every single person you talk to at this point, but like, it feels, and once you like just individually read each piece of advice he's giving over, it feels somewhat viable. Like, okay, fine. Don't waste your time shaking hands with every new guy you meet. Fine. I'll take that piece of advice. But when you put them all together, you're like, what is this guy even trying to say? And like he just continues. Spend all you can and afford on clothes, but make sure they're quality, not flashy, since clothes make the man. Don't borrow money and don't lend it, and since when you lend to a friend, you often lose the friendship as well as money. Like I said, individually these pieces of advice, they're alright, but then the fact that he's putting them all together, and it's just like a mess. It's like, what are you trying to say? Obviously you're trying to warn your son to be vigilant, to not trust every single person he meets, but like, just say that. There's no need to say all this. Like, what are you doing? And then after he goes on, he gives a bunch of advice that's, a lot of it's unrelated one another, actually. Then he goes, above all, be true to yourself. You just taught him all of this about being careful, and not being careful, being suspicious, borderline suspicious of everything, where you have to almost doubt and consider your every move. And then he goes, above all, be true to yourself. What? And then you won't be false to anybody else. Goodbye, son. I hope my blessing will help you absorb what I said. No, I don't understand a single thing that you just said. You can't just go, oh yeah, be careful of a million different things, and then go, be true to yourself. That's not true to yourself. This is contradictory advice. But yeah, that's my analysis of his blessing. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Laertes leaves. And then he addresses Ophelia. Let's see. Available to... Okay. Yeah, it's between Ophelia and Polonius, where Ophelia goes, he's offered me a lot of affection. He's made it clear that he's interested in me. And Ophelia, well, Polonius, it's not unexpected that he reacts in the same way Laertes does. And he's like, basically, don't trust him. Okay, Ophelia says he's made the holiest vows to me to back up what he says. That part's important, because even though it's nothing, like, official, like, it's not like she's his betrothed or whatever the right term for it is, but it's clear that there's something going on between them. And then Polonius, this isn't unexpected. He's like, these vows are just traps for stupid birds. But he's like, don't mistake that for true love. And to not waste your time with Hamlet, essentially. And then Ophelia, she doesn't try sassing him the way that she did with Laertes. She just goes, I shall obey. Like, what is she gonna do? It's her father. She can't say anything. But yes, we get some insight onto Ophelia, Polonius, and Laertes' character. And by the way, again, when we first get introduced to Laertes, the reason why I said I didn't catch that until now, it's not even made clear what he goes to France for. Like, I'm assuming it's just for fun. He was there chilling, spending his father's money, and then was called back for the funeral, and now he's just off again. Which is probably makes sense now why Ophelia was like, yeah, whatever. I'm not. When Laertes was talking to her, because she's like, I know exactly what you're gonna go to France for, and it's you're not following any of the advice you tell me yourself. But anyways, now we get to an important scene. Hamlet, Horatio, Marcellus. Again, I'm assuming, yeah, it's the middle of the night again. They're there waiting for the ghost. Obviously, they meet the ghost, or else that's not even a spoiler. How else is the play supposed to progress if they don't meet the ghost? But so we get the ghost later on. We get Hamlet, Horatio, and Marcellus. Marcellus and Horatio talk the least, so I call being Marcellus, who talked a lot. But yeah, who wants to be Hamlet and the ghost? You talk a lot, and Horatio, you talk very little.
I can be Hamlet.
Okay,
I
Hamlet,
can be the ghost then.
you can be the ghost. Alright, then Kai. You're Horatio.
Who am I?
You're Horatio, the scholar. The
Okay.
educated dude. The educated dude who didn't believe in the ghost, and he was like, oh shoot. Yeah, alright, let's start. Hamlet.
Okay. The air bites shrewdly. It is very cold.
It is a nipping and eager air.
What hour now?
I think it lacks of 12.
No, it has struck.
Indeed? I heard it not. It then draws near the season wherein the spirit held his wont to walk. What does this mean, my lord?
The king doth wake tonight and takes his rouse. Keep wassail and swaggering of serene reels, and as he drains his draught of Rhenish down, the kettle drum and trumpet thus bray out the triumph of his pledge.
Is it a custom?
Ay, marry, is it? But to my mind, though I am native here, and to the manner born, it is a custom more honored in the observance. This heavy-headed revel, east and west, makes us traduced in texts of other nations. Oh, more.
Yes.
They clap us drunkards with their swinish phrase, their soil erudition, and indeed it takes from our achievements, though performed at height, the pith and marrow of our tribute. So oft it chances in the particular men, that for some vicious mole of nature in them, as their birth, wherein they are not guilty, nature cannot choose his origin, by the or growth of some complexion, oft breaking down the pales and faults of reason, or by some habits that too much or leavens the form of placid manners, that these men, carrying, I say, the stamp of one defect, being nature's livery or fortune's star, their virtues else, be they as pure as grace, as infinite as man may undergo, shall in general censure take corruption from particular fault, the dram of evil doth noble substance of a doubt to his own scandal.
Alright, I'm gonna stop us right there before the ghost enters, because this is an important part. I would say in regards to Hamlet's character, it's probably not unexpected why I just stopped us when you look at what Hamlet has just said, because I don't know if you've read people's analyses of Hamlet, but all of them like to make him out to just be like this mindless, insane, raging person, especially near the end of the play. But like, none of Shakespeare's characters, especially their main characters, are ever that simple. Like, we all know that Hamlet goes insane at some point in the play, but like, there's deliberate effort to be made at the beginning to show that he's way more of a complex character than, I don't know, a lot of the analyses online make him out to be. Think about this like this. You hear the sound of trumpets, and Horatio's like, what the hell is that? Hamlet is like, oh yeah, the king is just staying up all night drinking, dancing, And Horatio's like, is it like a tradition or something? And Hamlet's like, yes. And he says, even though I was born here and consider that tradition part of my own heritage, I think it's better that we just don't practice it. Because other countries criticize us for a lot of partying, they call us drunks, they insult our noble titles. And it detaches us from our great, for our achievements, and it's just not great for our reputation. And it's like, he even understands. It's just like, it happens sometimes that one little defect in these people, as wonderful and talented as they might be, makes them look completely bad to other people. He's saying that it doesn't matter how great of a person you are, just this one, like, deficiency, like this one habit, this one act that you may have completely taint your image. Okay, so not only one does this show, like, beforehand, if you exclude his one crash out so far, not only is he extremely courteous and respectful to the people who are supposed to be serving him, these are his servants, essentially. He addresses them one by one. He's on pretty good terms with Horatio. He remembers his name. He addresses him accordingly. But he's also... it's not like he's a completely mindless or incompetent, I would say, so far, of a supposed ruler as Claudius is. You see Claudius, how he fumbled around the court. Hamlet, he's able to, when at least in the presence of others, he's able to critically analyze the things around him, I would say. Like, it's one thing if you're, like, detached from, I would say, a situation, you're able to analyze it more critically. But no, Hamlet is born into this sort of life, and he's able to critically look at it and go, yeah, this isn't great. We should stop doing this. It's supposed to show, I think, that he has some of the makings of a good king in the future, should he inherit the throne. But yeah, it's to show that his character isn't completely, black and gray? And the fact that, again, it's not just the fact that he thinks that the tradition should be discontinued, but in the larger context, he understands that the reputation of a king, or I guess, of a king, but he states of it in general, that just even the reputation of a person in a high position of power, it has to be completely clean. Because even just the slightest thing that you do wrong completely damages your reputation. And that's a fairly good analysis of what it takes to be in a position of power. But yeah, it's just supposed to show, again, there are some other moments later on, I would say, especially in the first half of the play, that does show that his character, it's not just Hamlet, the Mad Prince. There is depth to his character. But yeah, does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yes. Alright. Now, enter Ghost.
Look, my lord, it comes. Who's Hamlet again?
Right,
Hamlet.
right. Angels and ministers of grace, defend us. Be thou spirit of health or goblin damned, bring with thee airs from heaven or blast from hell. Be thy intent wicked or charitable, thou comest in such a questionable speak to thee. I call thee Hamlet, king, father, royal Dane. Oh, answer me. Let me not burst in ignorance, but tell me why thy canonized bones, hearsed in death, have burst their cerements. Why the
Vulture.
Okay, well, wherein we saw thee quietly oped his ponderous and marble to cast thee up again. What may this mean? The dead course, again in complete steel, revisits us the glimpses of the moon, making night hideous, and we fools of nature so horridly to shake our disposition with thoughts beyond the reaches of our souls. Say, why is this? Wherefore? What shall we do?
It beckons you to go away with it, as if some impartment did desire to you alone.
Look, with what courteous action it waves you to more removed ground, but do not go with it.
No, by no means.
It will not speak, then I will follow it.
Do not, my lord.
Why? What should be the fear? I do not set my life in a pin's feet. What can I do to that? Being a thing mortal as itself, it waves me forth again. I'll follow it.
What if it tempts you toward the flood, my lord, or to the dreadful summit of a cliff that beetles o'er his base into the sea, and there assumes some other horrible form which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness? Think of it! The very place puts toys of desperation without more motive into every brain that looks so many fathoms to the sea and hears it roar beneath.
It waves me still. Go on. I'll follow thee.
You shall not go, my lord.
Hold off your hands.
Behold, you should not go!
My fate cries out and makes each petty artery in this body as hearty as. Still I am called. Unhand me, gentlemen. By heaven, I'll make a ghost of him that lets me. I say, away. Go on. I'll follow thee.
He waxes desperate with imagination.
Let's follow. 'Tis not fit thus to obey him.
Have after. To what issue will this come?
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark.
Heaven will direct it.
Nay, let's follow him. And the scene ends, but let's continue, because the ghost now enters.
Where wilt thou lead me? Speak. I'll go no further.
Mark me.
I will.
My hour is almost come, when I to sulphurous and tormenting flames must render up myself.
Alas, poor ghost.
Pity me not, but lend thy serious hearing to what I shall unfold.
Speak. I am bound to hear.
So art thou to revenge when thou shalt hear.
What?
I am thy father's spirit, doomed for a certain term to walk the night and for the day confined to fasts and fires, till the foul crimes done in my days of nature are burnt and purged away. But that I am forbid to tell the secrets of my prison house. I could a tale unfold whose lightest word would harrow up thy soul, freeze thy young blood. Make thy two eyes, like stars, start from their spheres, thy knotted and combined locks to part, and each particular hair to stand on end, like quills upon the fearful porpentine. But this eternal blazon must not be to ears of flesh and blood. List, list, oh list, if thou didst ever thy dear father love.
Oh God.
Revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
Murder?
Murder most foul, as in the best it is, but this most foul, strange, and unnatural.
Haste me to know it, that I, with wings as swift and meditation or thoughts of love, may speak to my revenge.
I find thee apt, and duller should thou be than the fat weed that roots itself in ease on Leith wharf. Wouldst thou not stir this now Hamlet here? 'Tis given out that sleeping in my orchard a serpent stung me, so the whole ear of Denmark is by a forged process of my death rankly abused. But know, thou noble youth, the serpent that did stain thy father's life now wears his crown.
Oh, my prophetic soul. My uncle?
I, that incestuous, that adulterate beast, with witchcraft of his wit, with traitorous gifts, oh wicked witted gifts, that have the power so to seduce, won to his shameful lust the will of my most seemingly virtuous queen. O Hamlet, what a falling off was there! For me, whose love was of that dignity that it went hand in hand even with the vow I made to her in marriage, and to decline upon a wretch whose natural gifts were poor to those of mine. But virtue, as it never will be moved, though lewdness court in it a shape of heaven, so lust, though to a radiant angel linked, will sate itself in a celestial bed and prey on garbage. But soft, methinks I scent the morning air. Brief let me be, sleeping within my orchard, My custom always of the afternoon upon my secure hour thy uncle stole, with juice of cursed Hebenon in a vial, and in the porches of my ears did pour the leprous distilment, whose effect holds such an enmity with blood of man that swift as quicksilver it courses through the natural gates and alleys of the body, and with a sudden vigor doth possess and curd, like eager droppings into milk. The thin and wholesome blood, so did it mine, and a most instant tetter barked about, most laser-like, with vile and loathsome crust all my smooth body. Thus was I, sleeping, by a brother's hand of life, of crown, of queen at once dispatched, cut off even in the blossoms of my sin. Unhouselled, disappointed, unannaled, no reckoning made, but sent to my account with all my imperfections on my head. O horrible, most horrible! If thou hast nature in thee, bear it not. Let not the royal bed of Denmark be a couch for luxury and damned incest. But howsoever thou pursue this act, taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven and to those thorns that in her bosom lodge to prick and sting her. Fare thee well at once. The glowworm shows the matin to be near, and gins to pale his ineffectual fire. Adieu, adieu, adieu. Remember me.
Oh, all you hosts of heaven, oh earth, what else? And shall I call hell? Hold my heart, and you, my sinews grow not old, but bear me stiffly up. Remember thee! Ay, thou poor ghost, while memory holds a seat in this distracted globe, remember thee! Yet, ye, from the table of my memory I shall wipe away all trivial fond records, all saws of books, all forms, all pressures past that youth observation copied there, and thy commandments all alone shall live within the book and volume of my brain, unmixed and baser matter. Yet by heaven, O pernicious woman, O villain, villain, smiling damned villain, my table as I set it down, may smile, and smile be a villain, and at least I'm sure it may be so in Denmark. So, uncle, there you are. Now to my word. It is adieu, adieu. Remember me. I have sworn it.
My lord! My lord!
Lord Hamlet!
Heaven secure him!
So be it.
What does that say? And I low, ho, ho, my lord!
Hilo, ho, ho, boy. Come, bird, come.
How is it, my noble lord?
What news, my lord?
Oh, wonderful.
Good, my lord, tell it.
No, you shall reveal it.
Not I, my lord, by heaven.
Nor I, my lord.
How say you then? Would heart of man once think of it, but you'll be secret?
Nay,
I,
by
by heaven,
heaven,
my
my
lord.
There's near a villain dwelling in Holland, but he's an errant knave.
There needs no ghost, my lord. Come from the grave to tell us.
Why, right you are in the right, and so, without more circumstance at all, I hold it fit that we shake hands and part. You, as your busyness and desire shall point you, for every man has business and desire, such as is, and for my own poor part, look you, I'll go pray.
These are but wild and worldly words, my lord.
I'm sorry they offended you, heartily. Yes, Faith, heartily.
There's no offense, my lord.
Yes, but Saint Patrick there is, Horatio. Much offense too. Touching this vision here, it is an honest ghost. Let me tell you, for your desire to know what is our master to use me. And now, good friends, as you are friends, scholars, soldiers, give me one poor request.
What it's, my lord? Will,
Never make known what you have seen tonight.
My
my lord.
lord, we will not.
Nay, but swear it.
In faith, my lord, not I.
Nor I, my lord, in faith.
Upon my sword.
We have sworn, my lord, already.
Indeed, upon my sword, indeed.
Swear!
Ah, my boy, sayest thou so? Art thou there? True Penny, come on. You hear this fellow in the cellarage. Consent to
Propose the oath, my lord.
never to speak of this that you have seen. Swear by my sword.
Swear!
Speak, then we'll shift our ground. Come hither, gentlemen. Lay your hand upon my. Swear by my sword, never to speak of this that you have heard.
Swear by his sword.
Well said, Oldemol. Canst thou in the earth so fast? A worthy pioneer will once more remove good friends.
Oh, day and night, but this is wondrous strange.
And therefore, as a stranger, give it a welcome. There are things in heaven and earth, or Asia, that are dreamt in your philosophy, but come, here as before, never so mercy, how strange, sore, I bear, as perchance hereafter shall think me to put an antic disposition on, that you, such time seeing me, shall never shall, with arms encumbered thus, or head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase, as well, we know, or we could, and if we would, if we list to speak, or there being they might, or such ambiguous give out to know, might ought of me, this not to do, so grace and mercy at your most need help you swear.
Swear!
Rest, perturbed spirit. So, gentlemen, all my love, I do commend to you what so poor a man as Hamlet may do to express his love and friending to you. God willing, shake not. Let us go together. Still your fingers on your lips, I pray, that time of out of joint. Oh, cursed spite that I was ever born to set her right. Nay, come, let's go together.
All right. Now the scene shifts again, but that's a lot to. Oh wait, that's a lot to go through. Yeah, like this. All right, so before that, okay, let me just go all the way back.
Such a dramatic emo boy, like
I know.
so dramatic. He did not need to do that. Like, who is this emo teenager? Like, brother,
Well, you have to remember he is a teenager, so like. Okay, wow, went through a lot. Okay, so the ghost appears, and they're like, okay, it wants to speak to you alone. Clearly, it recognizes Hamlet. Uh, Hold on, there were some parts that. Okay, and just I've noticed that in Shakespeare's plays, they like to refer to Greek and Roman mythology a lot. Marcellus and Horatio try to hold Hamlet back, and Hamlet goes, "My fate cries out," and makes each petty artery in this body as hardy as the Nemean lion's nerve. The Nemean lion, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Heracles or Hercules' 12 tasks. Basically, it's common in Greek mythology for whatever king, a demigod, which is born of parents, one is mortal, one is a god or goddess. Hercules or Heracles was one of them. He's the most famous one out of all of them. And basically, the king's like, I need to try and kill this guy before he tries to take over my throne. And he sends him on these 12 tasks. The Nemean lion is basically a lion which had unpenetrable skin. I can't remember how Hercules actually kills him. I think he chokes the lion to death. But yeah, basically unpenetrable skin. It's just making that comparison. And Hamlet's like, yeah, there's the whole theme in Shakespeare's plays with fate as well again. My fate cries out, and he's like, I must be strong. I must face my fate. And he goes off. And the ghost reveals that, yes, not only is it the ghost of his father, but his father was murdered. Oh wow. And unsurprisingly, it's Claudius who is the one who murdered him. Basically, okay, Ghost is like, I'm glad you're eager, you have to be lazy, okay. Now listen, Hamlet, everyone was told that a poisonous snake bit me while I was sleeping in the orchard. The real snake that stung your father is now wearing his crown. And then basically the ghost goes off on a rant, and it's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe my wife married the man who killed me, but basically he was sleeping in the orchard. Yeah, and then just Claudia snuck up to him and poured a vial of poison down his ear. Yikes. And he's
Yeah.
like, that's vile. If that doesn't show you that, if that doesn't confirm to you that basically the royal court, is a place of a lot of backstabbing and murder and just plotting for power, that probably should.
But
uh,
dang, he really said his wife is one for the streets.
yeah, he was like,
Also,
it was just a half a page. It was just like, I can't believe what she did. Uh, a
but
lustful
also,
person.
wait, like going back to the Nemean line thing, like I
Yes.
think what's interesting to note for that is that like that is also more symbolism in itself. I know this because I took a course on like Greek heroes and
Oh,
epic poetry. What's interesting is that like Heracles, like the original play as it would have been known in Shakespeare time, I believe, that like the 12 labors of Hercules with the Nemean lion thing, that was like supposed to be Heracles's punishment slash miasmatic cleansing, because like what he did was he killed his family, which is a big
ah,
no-no in like
yes.
Greek culture, because the greatest sin you could commit above anything else, like above everything, is killing your own family, and that gives you like bad juju. So
Yeah.
in order to cleanse his own bad juju, because he killed his wife and family, he needs to go on these 12 labors to like
Yes, I forgot
cleanse
that part.
himself. So, and that gives us more stronger foreshadowing.
Yes. The fact that everyone dies in this play.
Well, that also because he's gonna kill his own family, and that his
Yeah.
uncle killed his family.
Yeah. That's a good point. I forgot that he killed Heracles or Hercules. He killed his first family. But yes, nice analysis. Okay. And then, yeah, don't let the Danish king's bed be a nest of incest. Jeez. Okay. But then here's an important part that the ghost, uh, here's an important, I don't think, is it a well-known line? Probably not a well-known line, but this is important for analyzing. Taint thy, uh, but however you go about your revenge, don't corrupt your mind or do any harm to your mother. Leave her to God and her own guilt. Taint not thy mind, nor let thy soul contrive against thy mother aught. Leave her to heaven. Basically, obviously, Hamlet's been now given this responsibility, but the ghost, his father, literally says, don't go insane, and don't blame your mother. Not blame your mother, like, don't punish your mother for it. Like, she can live with her own guilt. This is an important part, because Hamlet does not do it. Does not do that. And then after the ghost leaves, Hamlet's like, great. Yeah, okay, Hamlet, he laments to himself for a bit. And then after Marcellus and Horatio arrive, Hamlet swears into secrecy. He's like, you better not tell anyone what you saw or anything about the ghosts. And just this is the important part. Alright, but before that, while he's talking to Horatio's like, you're talking in such a crazy way. And Hamlet's like, again, sorry if I offended you. And Horatio's like, oh, don't worry about it. Again, just another example. He's being courteous. And I hope you're starting to realize this is by design, but Horatio talks. Whenever he's in a scene with other characters, like the soldiers, Horatio talks the most. And it's not just a reflection of the fact that he's a scholarly person, so, I don't know, he's more educated. He knows how to talk with the prince. But later on, Horatio does appear again, and you could analyze his character in a way that symbolically he means something to Hamlet. But just know that Horatio he is somewhat of a pretty. You could say that he's an important character later on. But yes, he swears Horatio and Marcellus to secrecy. Yeah, the ghosts are just everywhere on the scene. And then this is important. He says, listen to me. No matter how strangely I act, this is the translated modern day version. No matter how strangely I act, since I might find it appropriate to act a little crazy in the future, as I perchance hereafter think to put an antic disposition on. You must never like indicate with your expressions or your words that you're like, oh, he's doing the thing, he's like acting crazy, or oh, he's doing the thing we told him about. Like you can't even give away clues like this that you know what's going on. In addition to this just being more proof that they live in a world where they have to watch their backs and just be suspicious of everyone, you could say that it's nice that he has people that who at least believe enough in him to confide in him, and when they see something as a ghost of his father. But the most important part of this is that the fact that his reaction to being thrust upon this heavy responsibility of taking revenge for his father is to act mad. I would say that it's the first indication, or second, maybe, indication after his crash out, that he has some questionable decision-making abilities. There's not enough evidence yet to completely support the fact, but I would say it's the first evidence, the line, I perchance hereafter shall think to meet to put antic disposition on. Yeah, he's like, I might sometimes act crazy. You just gotta get used to that. And they're like, alright, sure. Yeah, and then that's the scene ends. Do we want to continue? It's 12:30.
I think we can
You think
call it.
Yeah, because wait, let me look at the next scene. Yeah, okay, we get Polonius again. Ophelia? Oh, okay, I remember this. Yeah. And then it picks up. There's some scheming that's going on behind the scenes, and there's some stuff to unpack after this. So,
Okay.
I think we can stop there. Any comments on the... Any comments on the analysis just now?
Such an emo boy, like, this is classic, like 17-year-old boy behavior. Like, brother,
This guy comes back after talking to his ghost dad, and his retainers are like, "Hey man, are you okay? You're a little off, a little crazy right now."
It's giving like that like one bulletin board me, like like that one thing with like that crazy dude in front of like a bulletin board with like all
Yeah,
the
with the
dots.
red
With the
threads.
strings.
Yeah. He doing that. Like, oh, bro, crashing out a little too hard here for no reason. Like, get over yourself.
Yeah, and there was a line I remember before where Marcellus, I think it was Marcellus that goes, "There's something rotten in the state of Denmark." It might not just be referring to the current state of things. I should have pointed out that there's something rotten in the state of Denmark. That's a pretty well referred to line as well. So it's foreshadowing.
So funny. He says that, and Horatio's like, "Yeah, no shit, we didn't need a ghost to tell us that."
All right, I think I'll stop streaming. Okay.